possible examples of petrified wood from the remains of a steep house-like roof on a barge-like hull, Noah's Ark, by Ronald Stewart. Copyright Ronald Stewart, 2003 to 2017, all rights reserved. On the left is an illustration rendition of what Noah's Ark may have looked like between 2400 to 2350 BCE when it was built and after it landed. However, the rendition on the right manifests what Noah's Ark possibly looks like today, as discovered on expeditions of the possible remains of Noah's Ark by the ArkQuest team in expeditions from 2006 to 2017. We now examine this wood, petrified wood, more as follows. Noah's Ark. This is what it's thought to have looked like maybe today, or sticking out of a glacier somewhere on Mount Ararat or one of the other mountains of Ararat in the Ararat mountain range, and that it's a box-to-barge like shape. However, we have to look at the question, ask the question, exactly what would Noah's Ark look like? And if it was petrified, would it look like it was as told in the Hagopian story in 1908, 1910, as seen here, is in this beautiful drawing, painting by Alfred Lee, that the ark was seen by a boy and his uncle as he lifted him on top of it, and he shot a gun and the bullet bounced off of it, and he said that it was petrified. Would it have looked like this as we zoom into it? Yes. After petrifying for 4,400 years, would the ark have looked like this if it was in a box-to-barge like shape as seen here? And or what about this beautiful painting again by Alfred Lee? Would the ark in a box-to-barge like shape have looked like this in stone-like appearance, according to the laws of physics and its empirical laws as well? Could God have preserved the ark? Well, yes, of course he could, but the Bible, especially in Genesis, does not say that that would happen. So then that brings us to our next common sense and logical point, which would be this question. If the literal wood remains of Noah's Ark and whatever was in it, like for instance, beams of wood, animal stalls, etc., and so on, if they still existed today, and if it has truly become petrified, as people had said down through history, then according to the laws of physics, in science, and its empirical laws, what would the ark look like today? That is a very good question. So how do we assess, examine, and analyze that? In order to examine this question in its full entirety and to the depth that it needs to be taken a look at, we would have to then look at a literal example of wood, for example, in a red cedar tree, and also what a red cedar tree would look like after likely thousands of years of being petrified, and then examine the two side by side in comparison to see if one looks like the other. In doing so, this would be hard evidence that if the petrified tree looked exactly like the tree that is the same, but it's alive instead, then that is one thing. but if not, that is something else. This was approached in this way in 2014. Here is an image of a tree that I took in 2014 in order to see if this redwood tree would look exactly like a petrified tree in the USA National Petrified Forest. Here is a video of that tree from 2014 as follows. Man alive, look at the size. Look at the size of that tree. This red cedar. This thing must be 400, 500, 600, 700 years old. At least. My goodness. Man, this is fantastic. This may have even been the kind of wood that even Noah's Ark was made of. Wow. All right. Good. We just got through taking a picture and seeing video of this large, possibly 600 to 800 year old red cedar tree, which is alive here. Now it's in its natural state, and what we're trying to observe is that in its natural state, as it was still being fresh wood, pretty much like Noah's Ark would have been, after it would have been built, it would not have started to petrify yet, is a petrified tree going to look exactly as we see here in this large red cedar tree? In other words, where the trunk of this tree is photographed and has been filmed, and now we also witness the video thereof, is this going to look the same as a petrified tree, the trunk of a large petrified tree, red cedar petrified tree as well? We're going to take a look at that. For if the petrified tree looks the same as this red cedar tree, then, of course, it would have looked the same whether it had been 4,400 years ago or today. And the same applies to Noah's Ark as far as the wood's concerned, according to the laws of physics and its empirical laws as well. However, if it petrified and was truly stone-like in appearance or rock-like in appearance, then would it look different under the laws of physics and its empirical laws, as well as far as the wood of Noah's Ark petrifying and looking different as it might today? Let's take a look at this video from the petrified forest I took in 2014 as follows. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Wow. Isn't that beautiful scenery? Beautiful landscape across this National Forest Park. My goodness. Fantastically beautiful. Just, man, this is fantastic. This will make a wonderful comparison. Man, look at that thing. Look at the size of that. Man, this thing must be at least several thousand years old, probably from the time of the flood as well. After watching the two videos of the red large cedar trunk and tree on the left that was alive, and when comparing it with the video and also the image here of the red cedar tree that's totally petrified on the right, we can see that there is a big difference. The one on the left, of course, looks like it's alive, and the one on the right looks like it's dead. But it has a rough exterior, and it has permineralization, and it has absorbed many minerals, and has a very rough and bumpy exterior. In like manner, when it comes to Noah's Ark, should we expect it to have a very shiny, very well made, put as if it was just built and put together, pristine look to it? Or after 4,400 years of petrification, would we rather, according to the laws of physics and its empirical laws, expect that the Ark of Noah, its surface, would have more of a rough, bumpy, and stone-like appearance to its surface, like we see in the petrified tree to the right? The answer is in the fact of what we have just examined, that the laws of physics and its empirical laws in the tree to the left, the large red cedar tree that is alive, its natural state and the wood being more like it would be when Noah's Ark was first built, would have this type of look. It could have looked new and pristine. However, after 4,400 years of petrification, just like we see here in the hard evidence and the difference in the image to the right and the video we just saw, that the petrified tree to the right has become very, very bumpy and rough on its surface and looks completely different, although it has the same outline and a lot of the same physiological areas and physical areas as the tree on the left, but its surface has become more stone-like or rock-like in appearance. And in like manner, we should expect the same thing with Noah's Ark. Now that we have presented not only photographic but also video, and also a fundamental sound basis of scientific evidence in the difference between natural wood and wood that would petrify, and how, if it petrified, especially over 4,400 years, as Noah's Ark would have been if it landed in 2400 to 2350 BCE, and until today in 2017, getting close to 4,400 years later, we see that according to the laws of physics and its empirical laws, that it would likely look more rough like the petrified tree on the right and have a very rough, bumpy exterior surface, and it have more of a stone or rock-like appearance. And that is what we're going to examine next in the ArkQuest expeditions, especially between 2015 and 2017, in which these videos are examining. We now learn more about that, and will continue to learn more about the petrification of Noah's Ark as follows. From 2006 to 2017, the ArkQuest Noah's Ark Research and Expedition Team has had several expeditions to an object as seen here, which is more like a steep-like house-like roof on a barge-like hull. This is the way it may have looked when it was first built in 2400 BC to 2350 BCE after it landed. And this is what it looks like today on a cliff shelf. However, when we look at it more realistically, what we find is that it may have looked like this when it was built on the left in 24 to 2350 BCE and after it landed here on this cliff shelf, but today in 2017 it looks similar to what we see here in this rendition. We'll be learning a lot more about the possible alleged remains of Noah's Ark as we see on the right in the condition it is today in 2017 in part number 2, where we will be examining and assessing more about not only the petrification of the wood on Noah's Ark itself, but also on what may still be left of the possible alleged remains on the inside of the Ark itself as well. For example, like wood beams, or animal stalls, and other things that may be inside too. We examine more of this in part number 2. Thank you for watching.